Volcanoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis. All of these are natural disasters that kill many people each year. Volcanoes are caused by convergent plate boundaries. Earthquakes are caused by transformed plate boundaries. And tsunamis are caused by earthquakes, landslides, volcanic eruptions, or even meteorite impacts.
Our city is Aurora, Philippines, and it is located on the island of Luzon. This poor little city is affected by all three of these natural disasters. We are the National Disaster Management Corporation, and our job is to figure out what's going on in the city and help them for their future disasters. P waves are also called primary waves and move through waves by squeezing and stretching the material in the same direction as the wave is moving. S waves, also known as secondary waves, move the material at right angles to the wave direction. Earthquakes are worse when you're located near a plate boundary. If your building is not very well built, it will not withstand an earthquake. This is why if you live near a plate boundary, then you will want to have building insurance and strong buildings. Earthquakes are very hard to live with and sometimes can be very damaging. You can measure an earthquake's force and duration using a seismograph.
We have learned that Mount Pinatubo is an active volcano located on the island of Luzon, which is the same island that the city of Aurora is located on. This could greatly affect the life of the citizens that live in the area of Aurora. On June 1991, Mount Pinatubo produced the second largest eruption of the 20th century, and the largest eruption in living memory for many. 5 billion cubic meters of ash and debris were ejected from the volcano, producing eruption columns 18 kilometers wide at the base and heights reaching up to 30 kilometers above the volcano's vent. This affected lives of everyone.
Volcanoes can affect all four Earth systems. It can alter the landscape, make corrosion with acid rain, and add sediment to the lithosphere. It can destroy the habitat and reduce photosynthesis for the biosphere. Volcanoes can also fill the air with ash and dust while blocking the sun. Changes in weather can occur with humidity and cooling. Courses of rivers are altered, and there are changes of chemistry in the hydrosphere.
Tsunamis can damage Aurora by causing fish to be washed up on the shore where they are struck to die. They can also flood the lands near the shore, causing people to die from them. This will damage the crops and cause nearby buildings to collapse. Some people might be trapped under the buildings and die. The uproot of trees too, causing them to fall on houses and people. Lastly, they cause economic decline as they have to spend a lot of money rebuilding the houses and restoring the original landscape. A strain meter is used to predict earthquakes and volcanic eruptions by the coordinated use of the seismometer, which are instruments that measure the motion of the ground. To detect earthquakes or eruptions, underground vibrations or shock waves use a seismograph record, which are measuring instruments for detecting and measuring the intensity and direction of a duration of movement of the underground, such as earthquakes. Tsunamis can be predicted from earthquakes. When an earthquake happens, they check the ocean to see if there is any tsunami behavior. Other than that, there is no other way to detect tsunamis. The technology has improved for predicting earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis by Before, we couldn't predict them at all, and now we have the technology to predict them. Volcanoes. Before, learn the signs of a volcano that may erupt. Don't buy a house, buy a volcano. Government. Set up equipment to measure volcano activity. Have a way of warning people. Have a place to go if people do not have enough time to evacuate the area. During. Government. There's nothing they can do except help evacuate. After. Government. Get some ashes out of the air, clean up the damaged areas.
Earthquakes are unpredictable, so if you're living in an area prone to earthquakes, it might be a good idea to be prepared. You should have an emergency kit, secure objects that may fall during the earthquake, move objects away from exits that may become hazardous and keep you from leaving the building, teach kids what could happen during an earthquake to keep them from being traumatized. Before a tsunami, if you are on vacation, locate the stairs to get to a higher floor. Find higher ground near the beach if your hotel is not on the beach. Research about tsunamis and how common they are in the area you are going. Learn the signs of a tsunami. Tides going way out, fish on a beach. The government can keep track of earthquakes. Predicting tsunamis is done by knowing when and where an earthquake happens so they can know where the waves are going to push the water. Set up ways of warning people. They can have evacuation plans for the coast. During a tsunami, go to high ground and stay there. The government can have helicopter rescues. After a tsunami, you can stay out of damaged buildings, get out of an area if possible, and the government can give people shelter, food, and clothing.
Tell me when you hear my side.